movie making workshop. I wanted the students to go through a process of a different environment, just to understand that if an environment is changed, a tool is changed, or a medium is changed, are they able to apply? Because these are students going to a design school. Designing actually looks at a lot of aspects where right from their applications to what they have learned as skills and bringing in the details of that particular medium becomes very important. This was a dream for me where if I can introduce these kids to something new and yet learn to associate with what they have been learning, and with movie making workshop I could see multiple dimensions of them, their personalities, their thought processes, their thinking, their visualization, their capacity to conceptualize in spite of the medium changing and look at themselves in a larger frame working. This has actually got in a lot of understanding for these students that if they are given an exposure, given the conducive environment, given the right values and given the good facilitators, they actually groom. It is not a classroom method, but it is an experiential learning that which I am living and believing and trying to implement.
Pen is mightier than the sword. There was undoubtedly a growing tendency towards flattery under the British rule, and all the honest people would admit that this tendency is undesirable and detrimental to the interest of the people. The articles portrayed through me have stated the true meaning of my name. When people thought that they were totally helpless, I was a ray of hope in their lives. I, Kesari, was born in 1881, and not only was I a newspaper but also a symbol of bravery. Let's travel 135 years back in time. In the year of 1881, when there was fear of the British in the air, my father, Bal Gangadhar Tilak, wanted to create a source that could fight against it. In spite of the spreading threat of this obstacle, they transferred my first printing machine to New English School and assembled overnight. Next morning, my fresh copies were delivered from door to door for people to read. This is where it all started. Agarkar was my first editor, and along with my father's brave and honest writings, he helped me reach great heights. I would like to recall one of my favorite headlines. Has the government lost his head? Was one of the questions that I directed towards the British. My straightforward questions, appeal to the people, bravery and loyalty made me the god of the newspaper world in no time. I was subject to fame and respect of the people. Within a year, I became the most circulated Indian language newspaper in the country. My father wanted to reunite all the people, and revived their pride in being Indians. That is why he introduced the Ganesh festival. Cleverly hidden between the celebrations were messages of nationalism. He wanted a hero to inspire the people, so he chose Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj. He celebrated the annual festival to make the people aware of Shivaji's bravery and independence. Due to these actions, my father was given the title Lokmanya, one who is accepted by the people. In 1896, my father and me came into direct conflict with the government. After the famine, when there was no ready help given to the farmers by the government, my father stepped ahead and took control of the situation. Because of this, many of my followers were arrested by the government. In 1905, the government ought to partition Bengal. All of this led to a widespread protest in which I took part and I voiced the thoughts of the Indians. Boycotting the foreign goods was one way in which my father thought that we could attain Swarajya. So, now let's come back to the present. Even today, my copies are being published every day, and my father is still alive in the hearts of the Indians.
लोकशिक्षण हे अतिशय आवश्यक आहे. सर्वसामान्य लोकांपर्यंत आपल्या पोचता आलं पाहिजे. ह्या दृष्टीने मग आपल्या हातात 2 वृत्तपत्र असली पाहिजे. अशा तऱ्हेने त्यांनी विचार केला आणि त्यासाठी केसरी आणि मराठा ही 2 वृत्तपत्र सुरू केली. पण केसरीचं जर तेव्हा पाहिलं तर अनेक लोक असं सांगतात की गावात पोस्टाने केसरी जायचा, त्याची वाट पाहत लोक असायचे आणि मग ज्याला कोणाला वाचता येईल तो त्या ठिकाणी वाचून दाखवायचा आणि उरलेले सगळे लोक ऐकायचे. त्याच्या प्रत्येक वर्तमानपत्राची इंटरनेट आवृत्ती आहे, तशी केसरीची आहे. केसरीने फार सुरुवातीला सुरू केलं होतं, परंतु त्यावेळेला परदेशातून फक्त रिस्पॉन्स होता, इथे काही नव्हतं. परंतु आज असं कोणालाही वाटतं, म्हणजे एवढा वेळ नसतो आणि ते वेळ नसल्यामुळे भरकन आपण जाता आता पाहतो कुठे ते ॲक्सिडेंट झालेला असतो, पटकन आपण फोटो काढतो, व्हायरल होतो. मग हीच बातमी केसरीच्याकडे येऊन केसरीतून कशी आपल्याला देता येईल, त्याची ऑथेंटिसिटी ही बाकीच्या याच्यात नाही आहे. हे असं होऊ नये जे भारताच्या स्वातंत्र्यालाही धोकादायक आहे. त्याच्या वर्तमानपत्रच सगळेजण असं विचार करत आहेत की आम्ही या तरुण पिढीपुढे ॲप्लिकेशनच्या स्वरूपात कसे जाऊ, त्यांचं रिप्रेझेंटेशन हे वर्तमानपत्रात कसं होईल आणि तेही पार्टिसिपेट करू शकतील. आणि एकूणच हा माहितीचा जो सगळा काही संशोधन आहे, याच्यात वर्तमानपत्रांचेही तसेच बदल होतील आणि तसेच केसरीचेही बदल होतील.
My father once said,
स्वराज्य हा माझा जन्मसिद्ध हक्क आहे आणि तो मी मिळवणारच. ह्या हेतूनं मी केसरीची स्थापना केली आणि ह्याच हेतूनं केसरी पुढील वाटचाल करत राहील.
Participation is important for visibility, and visibility is ownership, not just appreciation. In the professional setups, the students need to learn social ethics, accommodation for everyone, and different environment needs different behaviors. They have understood that communication is important, but they need to work more on it. The biggest thing for me is they have started looking at a picture in a bigger way and believing in the process. They have become more sensitive. Why? Because they have started understanding body language, gestures in a more positive way. Extending beyond the comfort zone and working endless hours without any complaints. Isn't it a beautiful outcome? Patience, perseverance, and practice. These are important elements, and I think my students are ready for it now.